Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools Love Horses YouTube channel. Yes, we're back again with a weekend preview video. If you aren't watching these on a regular basis, I simply do not know what you are doing. Last week, we picked out some nice snipes for the handicaps who shortened in beautifully ahead of the weekend. And fingers crossed, we can do a little bit of the same this week. We've had Grade 1 action just gone by, and we'll talk a little bit more about Shishkin, Grand National Trial, all things to come about Cheltenham handicaps, that the weights have just been released on the day that we're recording. And we'll talk a little bit about the weekend ahead. The Eider Chase over in Newcastle. Grade 2 events galore at Kempton. We'll get stuck into that in due course. I'm going to join by the usual lads, Harry and Lee. Harry, good weekend just gone. Eider Chase on the weekend. It's all right. It's not too bad ahead of Cheltenham.
No, we are 3 weeks as we record today till we hear the Lions Den, the roar of the Supreme. I am absolutely buzzing for it. I am getting to the point now where you wake up and you think, oh my God, you check the phone, you think, who's been withdrawn here? And it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You wake up by 9 o'clock and another one's been withdrawn. So we're getting to that stage now. I can't wait. Shishkin, as it mentions, Team Shishkin. I've jumped back in the boat. Do you know what? I was overboard. They were saying man overboard, but I'm back. Team Shishkin all the way. I think he's got a massive chance.
Team Shishkin, Harry, after the small little clip that took me 5 minutes, but on Twitter, I had great fun with that clip. Lee, yourself, is the Eider Chase on the weekend. This is Christmas for you, isn't it?
Try and say it in a Geordie accent. The 2 years, I bet you can.
Eider.
The Eider.
No, it sounds no like Eider Chase. It's look, it's a good chase there, and there's 3 Grade 2s at Kempton and also the Coral Handicap as well. So it's not too bad a racing. And like Harry says, I'm up checking the phone if something comes out. I'm thinking, have I got it non-run? I know bet. Is it on the ante-post slips? Yeah, it's a tense time these next few weeks up to Cheltenham, but yeah, looking forward to the weekend.
No, it should be really, really good weekend. But as we usually do, we have a small chat on the racing that just gone by. Always got to review it, as what's the point in talking about it? And Harry, you are now Team Shishkin. He's in a double with John Bon on our ante-post video. If you haven't checked that out already, please do go check it out. You surprised me and Sam. I nearly walked out the room that you've now put up Shishkin for the Cheltenham Festival, for the Ryanair. What was it that was so impressive about the weekend that just made you switch everything that you said? He's a 150 horse, according to you.
No. What I said was, on his current performances, if he was to run as he did against 150 horses, I would be backing the 150 horses. Now, in hindsight, that is a very, very silly comment to make. But listen, we all make mistakes. The game's full of opinions. I was wrong. I held my hands up. Fair enough. Shishkin at the weekend was absolutely electric. Pick Dorhey was superb, and he walked over the line. He walked over the line. Shishkin absolutely demolished him. Fakir Dudari's, he looked beat going down the back. Plan but he should have gone. I think if they wanted to go to the festival, they should have just skipped this race anyway. But that race at Aintree just seems to be tailor-made for him, doesn't it, really? Flat track. He's got that turn of foot as well. I don't think the ground was to his liking. We mentioned that on the Twitter live on Saturday morning, but Shishkin, he just, after 2 fences, Nico de Boinville said would know our fate, and he absolutely pinged. Well, I'd probably say he pinged most fences around there. And it's a testing track Ascot around the chase course. So he stays all day. You look at the Ryanair picture now, like Blue Lord was tonked the other day. Now, I know I put him up for the Ryanair, but then you're just thinking, well, what beats him? What can beat Shishkin if he comes to his best? The ground's not going to be, I doubt it. If it's anything to go off what we've had recently, the ground's not going to be that bad. Shishkin should take all the beating. People say, is he short? Well, is he the most likely winner? Yes. I'd just say if he turns up in the same mood as he did in the Ascot Chase, he'll take some beating.
No, he was very, very good on the weekend. Lee, it wasn't just all about Shishkin. There were other performances on the weekend. Was there anything that really took your eye that may not be in the main races?
You might laugh, and it's a hunter's chase. I know I keep going on about these, but this famous Claremont won really well the other day at Haydock. It won't go to Cheltenham, but it'll be one for Aintree, 1/2.6 there, but bolted in, jumps really well. So it's a bit left field, but I thought instead of going with the norm, I'll go elsewhere. But Famous Claremont, if you see that one come back out at Aintree, it's definitely got a good shout.
Was that the race that Late Night Pass won last year at Aintree? Am I right in saying Late Night Pass? Was it?
Yes,
Right?
Late Night Pass one, but that one probably skip Cheltenham as well and go there again because they don't quite see out that trip at Cheltenham. I think Winged Leader's going to go there as well, straight to Aintree, they said, because obviously they got Forcelay for the Hunters at Cheltenham. So it'll be a tasty race, but I think this Famous Claremont jumped for fun and bolted in, I think it was 19 lengths or so. It kind of fell apart, but it jumped really well, to be fair.
No, yeah, he was very good. There's a couple of performances that took my eye. There, obviously, Shishkin is the obvious one. That is just goes without saying. He was very, very good. But try to look a little bit away from the norm. I'm actually going to go for two horses, both in the same stable. Both weren't ridden by the same jockey, but both in the same stable. We'll go to Ascot first of all. In the first race, the novice hurdle over 2 mile free. I thought Springwell Bay was very good here. He was really, really, really good. Spoke to John Joe O'Neill Jr. in the Week for Gloucestershire Live. Spoke to him about his rides and what his father has elsewhere on the weekend. And he said that Springwell Bay was probably his best ride of the weekend, and it showed. He travelled supremely well into this race. I backed him 3-1, and it was sort of like you were never really in any danger. It was the easiest watch you could really ask from a horse coming around Ascot. Just swings around the bend, pings 2 out, and he's gone. Absolutely gone. One how you like. Now they get to bring him along slowly. Whether he goes to Cheltenham, I wouldn't say so. He's not in any of the Grade 1 entries, so they'd have to supplement him for anything. Maybe if they were supplementing him, it'd be at Ballymore. But I'd say he won't go. I probably would say he won't go. They're going to bring him along slowly, see how he is. This is a horse, remember, that was quite good in his bumper days. I believe he was really quite good in his bumper days. He won a bump by 14 lengths, and I went to Novice Hurdle Company a year after, so had 12 months off the track. He was a little bit disappointing behind Fenner Cross and the Supreme Trial, but still run a fair enough race. They just need to sort of just take their time with him. But at the moment, he's showing that he's a really, really good horse. And swinging all the way over to Haydock for his dad, John Joe O'Neill, just normal, senior, there we go. Collector's Item was second in the Albert Bartlett Prestige Novices Hurdle, the Grade 2. Making Your Mind Up won the race, and Lorcan Williams...
It's caused a little bit of controversy, hasn't it?
A little bit of controversy. I might ask you a little bit about that in a little bit of a second, so I think it's quite interesting. But Collector's Item, they've always said, from the minute this horse stepped on the track over hurdles, they've always said he's going to be a better chaser next season. That's what they're waiting for, and he's going to be better over a distance. Now, he won over 2 miles at Chepstow, I think, and they really weren't expecting that. They really weren't expecting that one when he won and beat Hugo's new horse. He then was a little bit disappointing behind Hermes Allen, and then he won beating Making Your Mind Up at Kempton. The form's been reversed there, but he was just like really good. He just was really sort of quite determined in the finish, real good grinder out of a finish. And I say that obviously Lorcan Williams had to break the strike rule there on the whip, and he's going to have a little bit of trouble. But Collector's Item was a short head behind, and I think if he goes chasing next season, you could see him being a real nice staying novice chaser. So those are the two I'd say. But I want to talk a little bit about Lorcan Williams in sort of like a minute. I know I'm putting you a little bit on the spot. I think it's quite interesting that he's being cited for it. He's being sort of like having his, what the stewards think about him for the ride. He went over the strike limit. His reasoning, or his sort of like, his reasoning for it was saying that I had to do it. I had to break the rules in order to win the race. Now, if I'm right in saying that, lads, if in order to break the rules to win the race, that's the reason why the rules are there. I'm right in saying that, Harry. Would you kind of agree?
Yeah, I agree fully, mate. I mean, the rules were in place. People have, slagged the BHA off recently about their the comments they've made, etc. But I think the whip rule regarding the number of strikes is valid. I think it is valid because, I mean, if you're on the second horse and you strike the horse 8 times and you get beat. What was it? A short head or
short head? Yeah,
short head. And then the I don't know how many he had. Lorcan had.
Just checking now.
I think he must have gone over, obviously. Mm-hmm. But listen, like if that winning distance is so tight, and for a jockey who's missed out on a winning pay packet because he stuck to the rules, compared to the winning rider who's not obeyed by the rules and he's won the race. technically cheating the second out of it. I think that's out of order. And does it justify a ban? Well, it's black and white, isn't it? It's like offside. If your leg's over the offside, you're offside. If you're not, you're onside. It's simple as it's black and white. If you go over, you get banned, you get disqualified. You take a little holiday. So for me, I don't have a problem with it personally. I think it's valid.
I suppose, Lee, the reason why they brought them in, they brought in the strike limit many years ago now, and they sort of put themselves in it there, right? We've got this strike limit, and now it's a case of when they go over, it's harsher bans. And I suppose there's maybe a case to say, look, as soon as you go over that strike limit, you should be gone. That's what, if you listen to Kevin Blake, that's what it should be. You know, it's a limit. As when you go one over, you're out of the race. But now it's sort of harsher penalties, but the horse keeps the race. But I suppose it's an interesting story, this, and the whole whip debate we've had over the last week.
On the other side of the fence, I have to say, lads, I think, look, I do get the strike limit, but to give such a harsh ban, he now misses Cheltenham, if I'm right.
He might do. We're still unsure yet.
I think it is, to be fair, lads. I think it is. I think it comes into play in the third or the fourth.
Yeah,
I read on Twitter earlier. Yeah,
I think that's shocking. I think it's disgusting that these lads know what they're doing. That they're not intentionally trying to go out and go over these. It's their job. It's their profession. They're trying to win for the owners who put a lot of money into the game. And for me, I think it's disgusting that now this lad misses the highlight of the season that he's worked all year for, that he's been sweating down for and starving for and travelling all around the country. These lads are doing stuff day in, day out that they know. Look, they know their job. We shouldn't be telling them it. I get the straight rule. This over the shoulder stuff and that.
Head height,
yeah. You need to be listening to these lads because these are the ones who are doing the job. You wouldn't walk into a hospital and start telling them what to do. Look, this is their job, and I get the rules are in place for a certain reason, but to then be missing Cheltenham and stuff and giving these really harsh bans. Look, they're losing out on money as well. You know what I mean? It's hard enough to be traveling around all these petrol costs and different stuff to then be losing out on days and then can't be to go and raid and losing their fees. I think it's too harsh, to be honest.
But then I've got one for you then. If I'm just following up on Lee and just playing devil's advocate there here. If Cheltenham wasn't around the corner and you're an average punter who's had a bet on the second and you've done by a short head because of the jockey going over, would you then feel aggrieved at the fact that your jockey has stayed by the rules and been beaten by a horse who hasn't stayed by the rules?
No, that's definitely true, and it's obviously I just think that they're getting harsher and harsher to please a certain audience. For me, like, look, everything's got to change with the times. I get that, but they're getting worse and worse, and soon we'll have no. Look at that whip taking out that picture the other day. You put it up, Ash. Pathetic, absolutely pathetic.
Yeah,
they need to stop paying into these then Karens. You know what I mean? I can't be bothered.
Look, the thing is, for me with the whip, I think it's obviously racing's apparent biggest insecurity, whereas you should actually be looking at the field sizes, interference.
Ash, sorry to interrupt. Did anybody? I'm a racing fan, right? But I didn't even look at that picture, and I wouldn't even notice the whip there or not. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not something I was looking for. I seen Rachel Blackmore cheering on the poster, and I seen the poster about Cheltenham. I wasn't looking for no whip. And I don't think people would have been looking for that. And it's getting tiring because we're going to lose out eventually.
It's just difficult because, like, if you go far enough of anything, if you look deep enough of anything, and without going too long on this because we have got race to preview, if you go deep enough into something, you'll find someone opposing you. Whatever it could be, you could be 95% right. If you go deep enough into it, you'll find someone that's opposing you. I think the issue with the whip is they've obviously brought in the strike limit. Some people, it's way before my time. Some people are saying that was the start of the downfall. Then as soon as they brought in the strike limit, Ted Walsh saying if it looks wrong, it is wrong, but the strike limit isn't one of them. Like, it should be like, if it looks wrong, there it is. I suppose I see both sides, as in the fact that these rules are there. These rules that are these new rules that are coming in have been publicly stated. They've been there. It's not exactly like it's a shock that's just happened in a day. Like, they are there. Lorcan's obviously gone over that, and he's looking like he's going to be facing a punishment for it. And they've been there. that he knows that, and obviously get caught up in the moment. I know it was a head bobbing finish. You're going to maybe forget about it just because you want to win, but they have been there. So maybe with the set of rules that have come in, the punishment is going to be there. It's going to happen because he's done that. I think the issue is, and I actually do go down the very much the Kevin Blake rule here. If we're going to have this whole thing about whips, the whole thing, which isn't our biggest insecurity, it should be field sizes. There should be interference that we should really be looking into. Like Paul Hannigan cuts across all of Berkshire at Royal Ascot and gets 10 days, was it? And like field sizes, I think it was at Newcastle the other day. Was it? There was 3 2-runner races or 2 2-runner races on the weekend or on the Friday. Can't remember where it was. It might not be Newcastle, but it was somewhere. I literally had someone at uni come up to me. We're like, "Oh, what's the crack with this?" First time I've had anyone pretty much speak to me about horse racing when they're not in the industry, and they come up to me and said, "What's the issue with this?" And I said, "Mate, you're asking me." But like, I think with a whip, I think taking out the photo is just like we're just admitting at that point we're just admitting that this equipment, this equipment that's been scientifically tested, that's used professionally and well by these professional athletes, we're basically admitting there's something wrong with it, which with the current evidence and stuff there isn't, and they're used by professional athletes who know why they're using, how to use them correctly. If you're taking it out of photos, if you're trying to block any sight of it, you're just admitting there's something wrong in our sport. And you can't be doing that. You can't be shooting yourself in the foot when horse racing gets such a bad press in the mainstream media. It gets barely any good rep. I think the last piece of good rep was probably Rachel Blackmore winning the Grand National. We don't get any good press anymore, and you're giving people ammunition to go and have bad press. I think it should very much be, and I do agree with this. I think it should very much be that if we're going to have a strike limit, it should be right, lads. This is 10. All right, okay. You go 11. Disqualified, okay, and you wouldn't get anyone go 9 strikes. All jockeys would go 8 strikes, and you wouldn't have a whip issue, and there'd be no whip issue after a year. But if you set a limit, it'd be like 10, 11, you're disqualified on the spot, rather than disqualifying them a week after as well. You disqualify them because they've gone over the limit, because you've gone outside of the rules to gain an advantage, that is correct. If you've gone outside of the rules to gain an advantage, you should be punished. But you should set a limit, be like, right, this is 10. Go 11, you're done. Go 9, you're fine. You wouldn't get any jockeys go anywhere near it. That's my opinion on it anyway, and it's a very interesting topic.
See, it's not me that's riled up this week; it's you.
No. But it's just gonna. I genuinely got really quite genuinely depressed about it when on Friday, when this was all going on, the whole let's get rid of the whip out of Rachel's hand, like she dropped it and she was punching to the fans, when she won Appling Tart. It just makes it really depressing, the fact that this sport probably won't be here. National Hunt Racing probably won't be here in 20 years or 25 years because we're already going on that downward slope. But it's just one of them, and it's something that we could try to change, but currently nothing's changing. So it's one of them. But on a lighter note, anyway, we've got racing to look forward to on the weekend. It's not vintage stuff, but it is graded action and handicaps to get stuck into. The first race is the Grade 2 Adonis Juvenile Hurdle. Some nice contenders here. I know there's one in the race that Harry likes that would definitely get stuck into. My race cards are taking a while to load. So Harry, the horse that is at the top of the market, I know for a fact.
Do you want me to do it for you? Do it in the best Ash Simmons way. I can do it for you. So at the top of the market in the Coral Adonis Juvenile Hurdle, the Grade 2, scriptwriter heads the market for Paddy Brennan and Milton Harris at 9-4. Rare Middleton for Harry Cobden and Paul Nichols at 9-2. Nusret. That is butchered, that one, hasn't I? Daryl Jacob, Joseph O'Brien at 6-1. Under Control for Nicky Henderson at 6-1. Power Purry for Nicky Henderson, who makes his hurdling debut at 7-1. And you can have 8-1 the rest. Ash, go ahead.
Very nice from you. You want me to go? I'll go first.
Go
Why
on,
not?
Fire away.
I have a bet in this. I sort of went through the field. I thought that you're taking a fair couple of chances on a couple of horses. Rare Middleton, you're taking a chance on him. He won his maiden hurdle at Taunton in January. RPR of 102, won by 3/4 of a length. Nusret, they're getting the forefront into him, or he could be getting the forefront into him. So he has the potential. Oh no, Boodles is 3 runs anyway, so they've qualified him anyway. But they probably won't be going to Cheltenham. Well, that's what the last I heard. Or they could be going to Cheltenham with him. But he is a class act, of course. But he was absolutely just swept by Blood Destiny the last day. Blood Destiny's a good horse, but like that's sort of the level that scriptwriters sort of running at. Is that sort of like they're both triumph horses, Blood Destiny and scriptwriter, and Nusrate was absolutely swept by Blood Destiny the other day. I think Under Control making his UK debut, and Power Fury for Nicky Henson, both from the same stable, making hurdling debut. I wouldn't be taking them at 6s, just too many questions. I thought, and Greyval's not going to the race. Connection said that Greyval's not going to the race, a bit under the weather. So I just went back to the top of the market and went scriptwriter. They like this horse. Milton Harris really likes this horse. They said that Milton said that it was the ride that got him beat the last day, got to the front too early. As a horse at Ballydoyle, he sort of like got into this mentality of being a lead horse for Derby horses. So he gets to the front. As soon as horses pass him, that's him gone. So it's a case of at Cheltenham, he got to the front, horse came to challenge him, he didn't want to go by. So if they ride him, if they gets a sort of like a slower ride into things, picked up late, I think they really like him. He was confident in the fact he was going to be coming back to the Triumph Hurdles, take on Comfort Zone. So if he's going to be doing that, he probably wants to be winning on Saturday. So scriptwriter is where I landed. And I'll go to Lee. Now that Harry's been doing the talking, Lee, the Adonis, anything that's interesting?
I thought scriptwriter was a good bet, to be fair, lads. I know Harry likes him, so we'll hopefully get on the treble of scriptwriter. The form has worked out really well. Comfort Zone, obviously just pipped him the last day. I remember you saying about the interviews, Ash, and obviously they were disappointed to get beat the last day at Cheltenham. That was in the JCB Triumph trial. Comfort Zone had previously been behind Lossiemouth and Galamar, so that form has worked out well. Then had went and won the Grade 2 at Chepstow. Perseus Way, I think, was in 3rd. He come out and won again. The form is very strong, and scriptwriter was behind the likes of Caribis and Pisbadil on the flat, so it was no mug on the flat. Won, I think, at Wolverhampton recently before Cheltenham, and yeah, obvious one. But I think this track will suit as well. Nusrate, I'm a big fan of. I'm hoping that one goes to Boodles. Long way beat behind Blood Destiny the last day. I thought it was just to get a handicap mark, you know. It's been beaten around 16 lengths to 20 lengths kind of thing in the last couple of runs. I thought it was, like I say, to get a handicap mark, 3 runs in for the Boodles. But if it takes a chance to Boodles, I would think it'll go close. And I think probably it's the danger here, but scriptwriter all day for me.
It's a hat trick then, isn't it, Harry? Because you like scriptwriter as well.
He's an apt. No, I'm not going to say that. See, I nearly had your voice. No, listen.
He's really bet to nothing.
Each way better now.
He should have won last time. Rare Middleton, I know it says he won by 3/4 length, but if he wanted to win by 30 lengths, he quite easily could have. He won doing cartwheels that day. So, listen, 9-4 for the stable that have won the race last year with Night Salute. Listen, what I want to do is get a request to bet for script. I don't think he'll win the Triumph, but the juvenile, the juvenile race at Aintree, I think he'll win.
That Night Salute won.
Yes. I think they'll do the exact same thing. So if you can get a nice price on the double, I will request the bet now and get it out onto Twitter. I think that could be a play because I think that race at Aintree is tailor made for this horse. Tailor made for him. So
you know, whoever you request the bet off, they'll say it's with the traders. 2 days later, after the race, they'll probably come back and say we can't give that.
We give you 2 to 1.
Yeah, that's the worst one. They offer you 9-4 now, and you're looking at a race a few months down the line. It'd probably be 6-1 or something like that. Something pathetic. So yeah, rant over. Scriptwriter wins, lads.
Let's go.
A little bit of hat trick there for scriptwriter.
That's not good, by the way. All 3 of us. That is not good.
Yeah, sink like the Titanic, probably.
I've just gone to Betfair to lay. The Grade 2 Pendil Novices Chase, the next race, 225. Boot Hill topping the market, 7-4. Isn't going to the Grand Annual. Wasn't in the entries as we record. That's all right, Gino. Jamie Snowden, 4-1. Captain Matan for Paul Nichols, 11-2. Beat Lac de Constance by a street the last day. In In Excelsis, Dio. Why even try that name? Should have just stopped there. Harry
Bravo.
Price 1, Solo 7s. Can't really like about the rest. Harry, I come back over to you. Do you like Boot Hill, top of the market? Is that going to be the one for you? Obviously, got that Jumbon form, very intertwining. So he looks like one of the better horses in here.
Yeah, he looks. If you disregard his race at Doncaster when he was beaten by Tommy's Oscar, you'd be saying this horse at 7-4 is an absolute certainty. But I just think that I don't know. It's not one that I'd be diving in at 7-4 because I think he's got things to prove. That's all right. Gino is no more, and I know he's obviously he's got 3/4 of a length to make up on the favourite here, judging by their Newton Abbott run when they were beat. But that was over 2 miles. That was over 2 miles. So a sharp 2 miles round Newton Abbott is a lot different than 2 mile 4 round Kempton. So I think that if anything, I think That's All Right Gino could quite easily close the gap. His recent RPR when he was 3 3/4 lengths to Stage Star, I think that form will read well. Listen, he looked to have a massive chance. I actually backed him in the Novices Handicap Chase. I thought That's All Right Gino coming to the last. He was trading at something like 11-8. I was thinking, oh my God, here we go. This is going to be a 12-1. And Stage Star just never came out of second gear. So it was one of those. But the pair pulled a mile clear of Unexpected Party. Unexpected Party is an annoying horse for me because I think the Skeltons have got something nice lined up for this horse because I think he is talented. So for me...
I'd like to say Dan Skelton said that it looks like they've been like lining it up for something for like a year, but they just haven't. It's just the way their race have been going. Just kept dropping in the handicap. It's like, oh, he's actually got a nice mark now for one of these handicaps at the festival. It's just they stumbled upon it. It's great.
No, listen. I mean, if you're taking John Bon form literally, and this might make you all laugh. That's All Right Gino beat Calico by 7 lengths.
I know.
So if you're taking the Warwick form restart, literally at face value, you're thinking That's All Right Gino could quite easily make it up to Boots Hill. He's getting £5 off Boots Hill. I'm siding with Jamie Snowden. He's still in good nick. They have been all year, so I'm sticking with him. That's All Right Gino for me, Ash.
You've read the form literally. He's basically the same horse as John Bon. He's literally John Bon.
Throw him in the Arkle. Throw him in the Arkle.
Jamie Snowden, you know what to do. Lee, what will you be signing with in the Pendil?
Gino, that's what I'm going with.
That's right, Gino. Bloody hell, what is going on?
I know. Look, Stage Star was no mug, absolutely bolted up the last day. That's All Right Gino stayed on from a mile back. But he was only beaten 3/4 of a length behind Boot Hill, but got £3 that day. Now gets the £5. So
over an extended trip as well. Over an extended trip. Over a little.
I just think this will suit That's All Right Gino better. They've got 2 in the race, Harry Fry. So if you thought Boot Hill was, a good thing, you'd probably just stick with him. But the fact that they've put the other horse in, I don't know. I'm not really a Boot Hill fan, especially it got beat off Tommy's Oscar the last day. That absolutely flopped at Newcastle in a 3-runner race. So the form isn't strong, and I just think That's All Right Gino will come home best. And getting the extra £2 to turn it around, I think they'll beat Boot Hill.
I think it's worrying, gentlemen. Really
3.
Really worrying.
Oh my God, what is going on?
Come on, we're going to look at 15. Yeah,
come on.
That's All Right Gino's the one I've landed on. I wanted to take on Boot Hill for all of the reasons you've already said. Extended trip. There's a swing in the weights from when they last ran of £2 compared to now when they last ran. Up in trip, I thought That's All Right Gino ran a fantastic race behind Stage Star. Stage Star was handicapped to the hills that day. Really, really well handicapped. He had to win off that mark, or like he was a shallow hurdle winner, lads. And he's running off 1:42. Like That's All Right Gino's finished second by 3 lengths to a shallow hurdle winner when in receipt of £4. That is fantastic for him in my books. Pulled a mile clear a mile clear of the rest, as Harry said. It ran to an RPR of 149. Only put up £3 for that run.
Yeah, I was going to say £3 is very lenient.
And obviously, the weights. It's not obviously it's obviously not a handicap, so the weights aren't a thing. But the thing is, what's key to me is that he's only put up £3, and I reckon they could have found a 2.5 mile handicap chase somewhere. I wouldn't know the calendar too well around this time of the year, but I'm sure there would have been a 2.5 mile handicap where they could have just waited for him if they thought that he was still really well in off 141. But they've gone. Do you know what? He's a lovely horse. Let's go into this graded race here. I suppose very similar was they did with Red Rookie last season for Emma Lavelle, where they had a really well handicapped. Phoenicia Williams' horse ran in the Arkle. Could have gone to the Grand Annual. They will come to
Red
me in a
Rookie?
second. No, that's Emma Lavelle. I will come to me in a second. I'll find it. But they had this. Phoenicia Williams had this sort of novice chaser last season. Could have gone to the Grand Annual. Brave Shashka, thank you very much. Could have gone to the Grand Annual for a really nice spot. Went to the Arkle, so I thought it's a nice horse. I think fell in the end, or was running a good race, which didn't do anything. Then went to Ascot or Aintree, start of the season this season. Absolutely bolted up off his mark. So there's again just a pointer there. I went through the field. I thought Boot Hill I'm happy to take on. I thought Solo would have an interesting one there, but he's a cap guard out of a French mare who loves the soft ground. Like he just will enjoy soft ground, and it probably won't be that soft this weekend as it's been recently. It's going to be good ground, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I think the horse I can't pronounce, excuse me, in Excelsis Dio, a nightmare there. Beat Landinabo Lad by 5 lengths, ran to an RPR of 136.
Solid run.
On Chase debut, solid run again on soft ground. Was doing most of his winning in France on very soft, so I opposed him there for the reason of ground. In the JP colours for Harry Fry, I think he's probably the main danger. But yeah, that's all right, Gino. It's a hat trick. I'm fairly scared as to what's happening. I'm questioning.
I doubt we'll get the two handicaps. I doubt we'll all choose the same of them, right?
I'm questioning whether I'm actually awake currently if I'm not dreaming. But so we've all done the same horse. We move on to the Coral Trophy Handicap Chase, the 3 o'clock at Kempton. The big handicap chase at Kempton on the weekend. And Ansam, topping the market 5-1, has drifted a little bit ante-post to freeze. Captain Ord is still in there, having won on the weekend. You'd be an unlikely runner, I'd say, for him. Remastered 9-1. St. Calvados, everyone's favourite in there at 9s. Kitty Slight's the favourite for the Eider, so won't be going here. Our Power 10s. Kev, what you like about the rest? I'll come to you first, Lee. What do you fancy for the Coral Trophy Handicap Chase?
I thought Ansam was still feasibly handicapped, to be fair. Put up £7 for the last day, but absolutely bolted in. One that was beaten 20 length. Tail Tapper has come out and won since. Kitty's Light could show the form up well. That one was third. That's favourite for the Eider. If that one goes in, there's a couple in behind. So £7 to be winning 19 lengths. I know got a freebie out in front, but fairly bolted it in jump for fun. So I do see the case for Ansam Wise at top of the market. But the one I like is Killer Kane. Up £5, 131. Is a good jumper, but had been behind the legs of Zanza last year in November. That one had it bolted up in a race where Captain Ord was a long way beat. I think the Machine was second, but Killer Kane ran a solid race. Like I say, it's been put up £5 from the last day for beating Jeremy's passive Paul Nichols. Won by nearly 5 lengths, but it's ran twice at Kempton over this trip and won twice. And I think £5 is lenient for its mark. So Killer Kane, I think, course and distance winner a couple of times, and also on good ground, good to soft as well. So conditions be in that one's favour. Killer Kane and Ansam for me in this.
Yeah, I have to say Ansam probably is still well handicapped on his form. He just loves Kempton, doesn't he? He ran really well at Kempton the last day. I did look at Killer Kane. He won't be the one I'm siding with, though, so fair enough on those selections. Harry, Coral Trophy Handicap Chase, anything that you're interested in?
Remastered for me, the 10-year-old for the David Park team. I really like this horse. His second to Milos in the Coral Gold Cup, as it's now called, or the Hennessy. I think Ansam was back in sick that day. And listen, it was quite quick ground at Newbury that day when we were there, actually, Ash. it was quite quick. So I think it will handle that. The Sandown run last time, I think you can kind of get rid of that because
Yeah,
I mean, the
put a line through that.
Yeah, put a line through that most definitely. It's never really going at all. But then on his previous run before that, he carried 12 stone 1 to victory around Kempton. So that was over this course and distance, being Tile Tapper. Your Darling, who came into that race, he was back in 6th before he absolutely dotted up at Ascot the race before. Kitty's Light in there. Listen, there's horses in there. There's some decent yardsticks, and I think off 152, he's consistent for a 10-year-old. I always kind of look, if I am backing these older horses, do they carry on the same sort of form? Just kind of for an example, Clondor Castle is now off 154, but his compared to last year, he was coming into this off like solid 150 RPRs, and then he won this race off 160, I believe. I think it was it this race? I'm not sure whether it was this race, but anyway, he won on this card. And since then, his RPRs have been horrific. So Remastered still loves the game. I think 9-1 is a pretty fair price. So I'm going to put this horse up Remastered 9-1 for the David Pipe team round a course and distance that he loves.
Yeah, Remastered running off 152, one of the top weights in the race. What is the race? Froden is in there, so that's topping the weights currently, and St. Calvados is there. I give a shout to St. Calvados. I wouldn't go about.
Every week.
I wouldn't go about mentioning St. Calvados. I think it's interesting. The Cobden's chalked up already, so David Maxwell isn't on the horse. Wouldn't know why. He's a pound higher than his last handicap win, which was couple of years ago. Now he runs off a mark of 154. He's £3. He's £1 lower than his last handicap winning mark. He's £3 lower than his second in a handicap at Cheltenham, I believe. His form is obvious. All of his King George form is obvious. He wouldn't mind the good ground. The good ground's fine for him. So he has to have a chance. He has to have a chance 10-20. Wouldn't be my main fancy though. I'd say I'd be leaning with the Sky Bet Chase winner, actually. Sky Bet Handicap Chase winner. Cooper's Cross. I'd be saying he's fairly well handicapped still. He got given £5 for winning, I'd say fairly easily. Like he travelled into it like an absolute, like a travelly thing. He did because Cooper's Cross the last day. Captain Orr was in second. He was trying hard and he's absolutely bolted up the next day. So he was obviously well handicapped. He was serving up to Galore, if not beating Galore when Galore fell. And then the two are pulling a mile clear. They've beaten out Elvis Mail by 8 lengths. That Nick Alexander's horse there. Yeah, he's only been put at £5 for winning fairly snugly. I thought, I don't think Sam Coulter, who was on board that day, don't think he was doing that much at the finish. Once he hit the front, he gave him a couple reminders behind the saddle, but I don't really think he was doing much when he got to the front. I think he won fairly cozily. He's 11-1. I can't believe he's only been put at £5, really. And I'd say this good ground that he's probably going to be getting at Kempton. There isn't much rain in the forecast. They'll probably put a little bit of water on, but I'd say that he'd have a go now. And I say he has to have a shout. One at a bigger price and a fairly big enough price to have an each-way poke if you're backing anything else.
An each-way bet to nothing is that one?
Good boy Bobby. Good boy Bobby is the one I'd say that could outrun his odds at 20-1. Last winning mark was 146 on winning the Roland Merrick, beating Lord Domainil, Harry's favourite horse in training. He was off 146 that day. Returns now to a mark of 140. Was second in the rehearsal chase in 2021 off another sort of higher mark than he's running off now. He's been running in marathon trips. Like he's been running, he ran in the Betfred last winning handicap chase over, I think, 3-3. He ran in an exchange handicap chase at Haydock. He ran in the Grand National. He's been running in these marathon trips, and he's sort of now back settled down to sort of like 3 miles around Kempton. So it's going to be a fairly sharper trip for him. I'd say good boy Bobby for me be a little bit overpriced. And the final race we'll quickly go on to at Kempton is the Dovecote Novices handicap hurdle, as I get it up on our screen right here. Hansard tops the market. Gary Moore 7-4 in there. Rubord for Paul Nicholls, Harry Cobden 9-4. You Can Tango for Ollie Murphy, Aidan Coleman. Aidan Murphy's been a long day. 4-1. Have what you like about the rest. 8 runners. Harry, would you like in the Dovecote?
Oh, yeah, I think this is just keeping us as simple. I think Hansard for the Gary Moore team here, simple as. I just think Rubord for the Nicholls and Cobden partnership had probably a tough race against in the Betfair Hurdle against Orcan Risk. So I'd probably be writing him off. You Can Tango needs to bounce back after he got tonked by Tamuras in the Tolworth at Sandown. He just he was 40-1 that day, so he clearly wasn't fancied. On his best form, he is quite talented. I mean, when we went to Ollie's, he was quite sweet on this horse, but I just think Hansard just looks a proper horse. You look at Master Chewy that day; he absolutely tonked. I think he hit every hurdle. He literally smashed every hurdle, and then he still won doing handstands. And was quite a big drifter on the day that day. Master Chewy was quite well fancied. I think it was about 1-2. Hansard went from 15-8 right out to 5-2. Not a massive drift, obviously, but fairly bolted in. So I'm keen to stick with the favourite. Listen, I mentioned the North Racing Syndicate. My God, they are flying. They are absolutely flying. So I'd be willing to stick with this horse. I think 7-4. I think could be quite. I'd say lenient on the day because I think he'll absolutely skeet in.
Strong selection there at an early stage. You mentioned You Can Tango. I'd be willing to remain with him. I don't think conditions went to his liking. It was sort of like a push into a Grade 1 to see what he is. It was a bit of a litmus test for him. They sort of wanted to see how he was faring up against these sort of like top level novices. I don't think he's a soft ground horse. It was soft that day. He was 40-1. He wasn't exactly fancy for the race, and he's pulled up. He's actually ran sort of like a fair race. Like he's been prominent throughout, and then just the ground and the quality of Tamuras is just put him out there. But his run in the Supreme trial was good. There was no hurdles at the finish, if I remember correctly, and just done by Fender Cross there. But he beat Springwell Bay in that race. Springwell Bay's gone on to Frank the Form, as I mentioned at the start of the video. He's just a good ground horse. Like he absolutely bolstered up in a novice hurdle at Aintree by 9 lengths. He then went to Wetherby on good soft and won, beating Royal Mogul. Like I just think he's a nice horse. I do think he's a really, really nice horse. Big willing to forgive his last run for conditions wise, and You Can Tango 4-1 is where I'd be looking at early. Lee, anything you agree with what me and Harry have said?
Exactly what you said, Ash. I'd take You Can Tango. Maybe try and get each way if you can. If you can get 5s on the day, I'd take it each way, and I'd put a line straight through Rhubarb because the last day, I think, like Harry says, maybe he's had a tough race. I'd cross that one out, and the one at the top of the market's a bit skinny for me, so I'd probably take You Can Tango if I was having a bet, but it's probably the worst race of the day for me, to be fair.
I just think Lee and Ash, just a quick one with Rhubarb, like he beat Brentford Hope, who's he's a flat horse.
He's an all right animal, but he's not nothing major.
But then if you go to Rare Edition, you look at Rare Edition the next day.
Yeah, it was beating that Sydney Banks, which wasn't a strong race because I think one pulled up or fell or something, and it was ended up a no contest. And I would expect him to have went and won that Sydney Banks, but it didn't do the form well. So
I just think I think 130. I just don't think he justifies that mark. I think at 9-4, I'd be laying that price.
You Can Tango with the 5 in what we've got the forecast.
Yeah, they are. I genuinely think that's got a massive chance. I really do.
No, it'd be interesting to see how both horses go. It's not the strongest renewal of the race, and it's not the strongest race of the weekend, so it might be a little bit of a watching brief. The final race we're going to be talking about, we're going over
the
best race of the calendar year, the Eider Handicap Chase, and topping the market, Kitty's Light 3-1, Christian Williams, Jack Tudor, Babington Bob and Hamilton 8-1, the Galloping Bear, Ben Clark, Ben Jones dropped up 8s as well, Bushy Park in there for Phil Kirby 9s, Evers Oscar for the Welshman Tim Vaughan in there at 10s. It's only right I go to Lee first to talk about the Eider. I'm fairly sure you found the winner last year, didn't you, with Wing My Wings?
Wing My Wings,
on her, yeah. Have you got the winner this year? That's the question.
Well, I've got 3 against the field. By the way, it's the 3rd best race behind the Fighting Fifth, the Northumberland Plate, then the Eider.
The Northumberland Plate, Mark.
The Northumberland Plate, where Trushan's win was the greatest handicap performance you've ever seen. By the way,
better than Denman and everything.
Better than everything.
I seen someone say, "What's your favourite horse?" the other day, Mine would be Overturn. I don't know if you remember that for Donald McKean, and it won Northumberland Plate and a Fighting Fifth, which would have been my dream horse that won Overturn. But yeah, look, I've took. I think Kitty's Light is absolutely thrown in. 132 is a steal really, because second to Win My Wings in the Scottish National of 143, second to Captain Ord of 140 at Kempton, third to Hewick, who's done the form well in the Bet 365 of 145. So 132, it could come there swinging, and we know it'll stay. The ground is fine. I think it ran a solid enough race behind Ansam the last day. Stayed on well. Ansam could show the form up well. Tail Tapper was in behind. That one's won since. Absolutely thrown in for Kitty's Light, but not missed the market. What is it, 3s or something, Ash?
Yeah, 3-1. 3-1.
Yeah, so look, it in an Eider to take 3-1, but it literally could come there swinging. French Paradox won well the last day at Newcastle. That's skated in. Castle Russian was going to run a good race for Brian Hughes, but come down, so you didn't really know what that form would have been, but absolutely skated in. I think it's off second top weight, which is not ideal in this type of handicap. The one I'd give a shout to is Shanty Alley. I'd forgive its last run, pelted through the first fence, I think it was, and just was never put in the race after it's lost its confidence. Had run a good race, went second at Newbury. 25-1 it is, and if 128 would probably have a good shout, but I can't get by this Kitty's Light mark. I just think he'll go and take it. Christian Williams again.
Yeah, it's Captain Ord obviously won on the weekend. It's Christian Williams. Remember, he won the Coral Trophy handicap chase with Captain Ord last year, and then he did it with Eider, Williams as well. I think this is the best. This is for the level of racing that we've had over the last couple of months. This is probably the most well-in horse I've seen since Gaelic Warriors Liffey Hurdle win. And I was all over Gaelic Warrior for that race. I'm not a huge fan of backing these short price favourites in handicaps, because a lot of things can go wrong, which is why I like to have an each way angle into it.
You mean since Gaelic Warriors Boodle, Mark? You mean?
Oh, I missed that completely. I was great. I was laughing. I was loving life. No, I think this is the day. This is the day for Kitty's Light. Everything's there for him. He doesn't mind the good ground. He pretty much got anything, but he wouldn't want it too bottomless. If I remember correctly from speaking to Christian, everything's right for him, as Lee said there. The handicap mark is right there. I backed him at Chepstow first run this season off a mark of 144, thinking he was well in that day, because he finished. He was second in the Native River handicap chase. He was second in the race off 143. I was like, 144, he's going to win this here, isn't he, lads? But no, this is the one for him. I think is that the ground conditions are there. They've obviously had this in mind for the horse. They've obviously picked out the Eider that they won last year and gone, right, who can we have for this race? Captain Ord was last week. Kitty's Light's this week. I can't get away from it as well. I think this is probably the first handicap bet at a short price I'm going to have.
That's 4 out of 5 we've agreed on.
Yeah. It's going to be Kitty's Light, I think, for me. And I think I found one though. If you want an each way angle, I think I found one. I tried to go through.
You say mine, I'll be fuming.
I went through, right, and I went through them, and I thought, right, which ones might have chance at price? I thought Sam's Adventure was well handicapped, but probably wants softer ground. It's currently good to soft. They might have a little bit of rain up in Newcastle tomorrow night, I think, Lee. But you'll be all right.
The showers due, but not much. It is good to soften. To be fair, we've had 2 dry days there. It's been sunny.
Yeah, there isn't actually any rain forecast, so I'd say it'd be on the better side of good to soft. So I thought Sam's Adventure wants softer ground. I thought Mighty Thunder is well handicapped to get another one, but different to Kitty's Light in the fact that you're taking chances with the form. The form since his Scottish National win on good ground off 144 reads 4th, pulled up, 10th, pulled up, fell, 7th. So you're taking a massive punt that he's back. He's off a mark of 129. If he gets anywhere near his Scottish National winning form, he's right there. He's right there off 129 when he won the Scottish National off 144 on good ground. He's right there. Excuse me. Sorry, he's off 132, not 129. But the one I've sided on, I've got all the way to the bottom. Ian Williams is One More Fleury. Won the Champions.
Is that yours, Harry?
No.
Good.
I was like that. Don't say mine.
Won the Novice Handicap. The Novice Champion Handicap Chase at Ayr, April 2021. RPR of 143. Absolutely bolts up off a mark of 128, I believe. Then what's interesting to me, since then, he's been 8th, pulled up, 17th, pulled up, 9th, 5th, and then 2nd of 2 in a match race. What's interesting to me is the odds that he's gone off for all of these races. When he won the Champion Novice Handicap Chase, he was 11-1, so it's a fair price. He then came into his season opener in the 2021-22 season, the London Gold Cup at Ascot, fairly unfancied at 12-1, sort of drifted a little bit, finished 8th. Then he was 33-1 for the Hennessy, pulled up. Then went to the Ultimate, 125-1. Pulled up, 17th, sorry. Went to the Scottish Grand National at Ayr, 16-1, was pulled up, but actually was running a fair enough race. Now he was lame, and then he lost a shoe, so you can completely write that run off like massively. Then went to Exeter for a handicap chase, 50-1. Pulled up. Went to Sandown, 80-1, 9th of 11. Went to Doncaster on good ground, which is the first bit of good ground he had for a while. He was 25-1, ran a fair race behind Senior Citizen, and then lost in a match race, a 2-runner race the other day. I think conditions are there. He's a good ground horse, he's a spring horse. If there's a bit of money for him, that'll be telling, I think, in my opinion. I think
you haven't sold that to me, Mains. That's the worst form, Mains, I've ever heard.
No, it's not great. But they picked out they picked out the Scottish National for him as a runner when he was 16-1, and he was the vet said gelding finished a lame on his right hind and had lost both shoes. He was fancied that day, or fairly fancied to what his starting odds were at 16-1. Then he's gone and pulled up at like 50-1, 125-1. He's not obviously been fancied, and he comes into here off a mark of 124 on ground he's going to enjoy. A nice long trip. I think he could have one now. I think he could have a chance, and 33-1 for One More Fleury. Again, he's 9-year-old as well, so he could have that just small bit of improvement to get out of him. I'm going to say 33-1. I'm going to give him a chance.
Ian Williams has had a few winners on the flat of late up here as well. So.
Yeah. I just think it's right for him. Spring ground. They picked up the Scottish National for him when he was lame, and so they've obviously picked up this race and thought, why not go for it? And he was pulled up.
We're on the Kempton train though, yeah.
Yeah. Kitty's Light is the main one. Harry, the Eider. I've waffled enough. The Eider. What do you like?
I like one at a massive price, and he is my nap of the weekend.
No, come on.
25-1. Houston, Texas, for Nicky Richards and Sean Quinlan. Now, I really like this horse. Rated 118, was given no chance last time at Newcastle, and then it actually came with a really nice run and stuck on to the line. You just look through his form. Every time he's been over 3 miles, over fences. He won by 3 lengths at Carlisle. He then stepped up to another 2 furlongs to Carlisle, 3 mile 2. He won that day off 111. He then went to Carlisle again, 3 mile 2. Beat Innisfree Lad, and there was a few decent horses in there, like the Flower of Scotland, etc. Mount Melleray for the Hamiltons, Morning Spirit was in there, Secret Reprieve for the Evan Williams. Listen, this horse can compete against better horses than what his mark shows. He's off a mark of 118, so effectively £2 higher than his last winning mark. I think he's got a massive chance in this, boys, because he will stay on. He will definitely stay this trip. He'll stay on like the clappers. If given a more prominent ride, I think he'll be right there. And 25-1 for Nicky Richards, who's in good nick at the minute. Not right at this current stage, but if he can turn the corner towards the back end of the week, Houston, Texas is a massive price. 25-1.
2 25s and a 33s outsiders for the Eider.
So 25-1. Houston, Texas is my nap of the weekend.
Wow.
There you go. Harry's nap right there. Houston, Texas. Lee, what would be your nap from the races we've covered?
Oh, I'm tempted to go a big upright. Look, I'll just go script right. I think he'll win. Simple as.
Thank you very much. I'm going to have to go through my notes as I waffle on a little bit to try to find which one I actually fancy at a nap.
Do you want to just quickly go on? If you want to find your nap, I'll just mention another horse, Ash. Goes to Kempton in the 4:10. It is the Coral Racing.
Zanza.
Yes, now that horse, I won't mention his name, Zanza. He drops to a mark of 140 after winning over hurdles. Now, if that's not an absolute shoo-in, I'll never know. But that's if he turns up. If he actually turns up, because he probably had a tough enough race at Newbury last time. But back over hurdles, he races effectively off a really low mark, about £18 lower than his chase mark. So he could be one to get stuck into. And I believe, Ash, you have yours ready.
Yes. That's all right, Gino, for the Pendil.
Oh, good lad. Good lad. It's about time. It's about time you put up a sensible nap. It's about time.
You've just put a 33-1, shut up.
Says you. No, that's all we got time for today. Thank you very much for watching all the way through this video. Lee, we've got a competition running, I'm correct.
We have a comp which is going really well. It's very popular. It's the Richie Silks on a hoodie, which looks really well, from at Racing Tees 1 on Twitter. So Racing Tees will give us that competition. Go on Only Fools Love Horses on the Twitter page. Follow the two sites and retweet, and you'll be in with a chance to win the Richie hoodie.
Yeah, no, it's a good competition. It's been very popular on Twitter. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter and the Only Fools Love Horses account on Twitter. We've had an ante-post video posted on Monday. It's going really well on the likes and the views. So if you haven't watched that already, please do go check it out. We did a little collab with Next Gen Racing, Sam Hart and Jack Dorling, where we had some interesting discussions, let's put it that way. It was good crack, really good crack to record. Really like producing it. So if you haven't already, please do go check it out on our channel. Please do.
You know what? Are you proud? Are you proud, by the way? I've lasted this whole time without saying anything controversial this week.
I think that's because we said we we're going to sack you.
That's right. Yeah. I've been in my naughty step.
33-1 shot was controversial enough, didn't I think?
No, mine 33, 25-1. 25.
We'll see, Harry, if next week we come back and you've got a winning 25-1.
Right, if that wins, I'm going to Barbados.
He said the tattoo. He said the tattoo, and now he's going to Barbados. Cannot believe it.
I hope it doesn't actually win now. Well, no, I do hope it wins because then
good man.
Broken boy for a while if that comes in. So.
Broken boy. If you have enjoyed, please do like and subscribe. If you're having a bet this week, please do gamble responsibly. But most importantly, enjoy the week of horse racing. Thank you very much. Have a good time. We'll see you for our Saturday live at 10:30 a.m.
Adios.